are created equal.
What we're going to do is they're going to be, one of them is going to be the abortion advocate. That's going to be Rachel. By the way, you guys all know them. This is Austin Beigel. This is Rachel Berkey here. They're both on staff with us. So I think Rachel's the abortion advocate. Is that right? Today, just today. She plays a pretty good one. So she's going to be the abortion advocate, and then Austin will be the pro-life advocate. So what they're going to do is she's going to ask a question, and then Austin, you're just going to see the back and forth here, and that'll give you an idea how to do this.
Yeah, so typically we would have an image of an abortion or a preborn baby near us, and so if I point to something in the air, I'm referring to the image. It's quite helpful to keep referring back to the picture because we have our eyes, and they're very helpful in this conversation. So Rachel's just a passerby. I would say, "Hello, ma'am, how are you doing? May I ask what you think about abortion?"
Well, I think it's a woman's right to choose.
But when we look at this picture here, you see that. Do you think that's a human being right there?
No, this is a clump of cells inside of me. Like, I should have rights to my own body.
When you say just a clump of cells, what do you mean by that?
I mean, at the beginning, it's like a one-celled thing. I don't think that you can say, like, one cell is as important as I am.
Okay, but when we look at how a human being is conceived, from the very beginning, we can see through the science of embryology and the study that that's just how human beings are made. We start at one cell as a zygote, a one-celled organism. And so just because we're really small and look different at that age, that doesn't change what we are or how valuable we are, because I think our value comes from what we are, human beings.
Okay, I mean, I still think that this is inside of me. This is, it should be my right. I mean, why should people take away my rights over my own body?
So that person is inside of a mother. That's the environment that human beings have to develop in. But just because we're in a different environment doesn't change our level of value. If I'm inside a building rather than outside of a building, my level of value doesn't change based on where I am. And so it doesn't also change when you're in a womb or out of a womb. That process is just a 6 to 8 inch journey down a birth canal. That doesn't really change what I am made of, and my value. And when we're talking about your own rights, you absolutely have a right to your own body, but what we don't have is a right to someone else's body. I can't take my body right now and use it to violate someone else's rights to their own body. I can't use violence against them. So why do we think it's justified to do that to someone who's in a womb just because they're in a different location?
So you keep talking about rights, and I just think this is what we're talking about. This thing is so underdeveloped. They can't even make any choices. Why? They can't even say hey, I want to live. If that was even a thing, they're just so underdeveloped. I don't think that really matters yet.
They're absolutely very young, and they don't have consciousness or self-awareness like you or I do right now. They can't have these types of conversations. But if you look at a newborn, it's no different than the baby in the womb. It's still not fully conscious of who it is or what it is. It's learning, developing. Its brain is still growing. And, we could even look at people with disabilities who will never reach the level you and I are at, intellectually or with our minds. But that doesn't change their value because, again, we gain our value from what we are, human beings created in the image of God. And when you discriminate based on, development or, intellect, that's something I would say is wrong. We could probably both agree it's wrong to do that based on someone's sex or their race. But if we're going to do it against their intellect or their level of development, their age, would you also say that's wrong?
You make a good point, but what do you think about if I die, this thing inside of me would too? So they're completely dependent on me. Why should I have to be an incubator for 9 months?
Yeah, no, that's right. That unborn human is dependent on the mother, and it's using the mother's body for oxygen and for nutrients in order to grow, just as I still require oxygen and nutrients to grow and develop. But I don't think, again, that's not going to change the value of someone. A newborn is still dependent on the mother for a safe environment in a home, nutrients from her breast milk. These are things that, it doesn't change after they're born. It's not just some hard line where everything changes once you're born. All you did was move down a little bit into a different environment. And so, you can also look at people who have diabetes or cancer who need insulin and chemotherapy. Their lives are dependent on something else other than themselves. And when we're dependent on something else, typically we're supposed to have compassion on that person who needs help to live. Not, we don't condemn them for their need of dependency. That's something that should inspire compassion in us.
So what do you think about really hard cases? I mean, somebody has been violated and she's now pregnant as a result of that. I mean, you certainly can't think that she should be forced to go through 9 months of just utter turmoil because of nothing that she had to do with.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing, and when you look at the issue of rape, that's something you and I should both agree on. That's a horrible thing, one of the worst things you can do to someone. But it's wrong for the same reason that abortion is wrong, is you are taking your body and using it to violate the rights of another person's body. And so when we look at the case of rape, if a mother is impregnated through that, hopefully we would both say it's wrong to punish the woman for what happened to her. Right, and it's wrong because she's innocent. She didn't do anything. I want to punish the criminal, the person who actually violated someone else's God-given rights. And so, I wouldn't put the punishment on the mother, and I'm also certainly not going to put it on the unborn child who was conceived as a result. It doesn't matter whether you're made in love or violence. The science works the same way. A human being is conceived in the same way. And so that unborn child did nothing wrong, and it's not at all fair to the mother that, she has this burden upon her life that someone else violated her body, and now she has a baby growing inside of her. But that baby's value is still the same, just as one, conceived in love through marriage. And so, adoption is a wonderful choice for people who aren't in a situation at all. There's 2 million people on the adoption waiting list. My wife and I always offer to adopt any baby, who's in need, a parent who needs that option. And so there's plenty of people out there that's able to help a mother in that situation. We have great sympathy for the mother, both of the innocent victims, the child who will likely grow up without a father, and the mother. And that's a horrible situation, but we shouldn't kill the innocent baby.
So I have a lot to think about, but I just want to ask, why should you care? Why should you have any say in this? Why are you trying to make a difference? I mean, this doesn't even really affect you. If I have an abortion, why are you trying to stop it?
Yeah, I care because I look around in my country and I see innocent human beings who are being discriminated against. I would hope that if I was born, in the civil rights movement, I would have done something to help people of color who are being discriminated against. Personally, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, and He's forgiven me, and He's shown love to me, and so I also show love to my neighbor because of that. And if we are Christians, if we do, say we love God, it's our responsibility to, do something about the innocent victim who's being killed right before my eyes. I have a responsibility to help that person.
All right, let's give it up. We'll give it up for Austin and Rachel.
Hey, if you like the work we're doing on college campuses changing minds about abortion, make sure you drop us a like on this video, tell us what you think in the comments below, and then subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell. Join our movement to end ageism and end abortion.